Try it one more time. That zero is so off. Man, I'm sucking today. I'm running some 55 grain from like Bosnia. Hey guys, thanks for checking out another HatchetCast episode, and today we're going to be talking about the EHS-1 from DOT, the electro holographic sight from the company it's literally called DOT. We're going to talk about the specs on this thing, just the basic general information on it, my experiences on this holographic optic and where I think it really shines, and then maybe some things that could be improved upon. And then also I'll be talking a little bit about some rifle skills that you can work on whenever you're shooting barricades, talking about punching in and out of a barricade, and also making sure we don't sweep. So get a little bit of tips and tricks at the end, and then obviously, of course, followed by an encouraging word. Before we get started, guys, make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. Also, share this video with a friend. If you're looking at getting a DOT, definitely share this with a buddy, or if you run an EOTech or a Vortex Huey, let us know what your experiences are with different holographic optics. What's your favorite? What do you like to use? Also, we have a Discord channel now, so make sure you go check the description of the video and you can actually see the Discord link. Come join us. It's awesome time over there, great community, and we'd love to have you. I want to talk about a quick sponsor of the channel, and that is Wetworks. Now, as you guys know, Wetworks has sponsored the channel for a long time. They make nylon gear. They're out of Texas. It's a husband and wife. They make plate carriers, chest rigs, concealment options, all different types of things, and they are all about outfitting the prepared citizen with top quality equipment. So if you're looking for gear, check the description of this video or see the ticker on the bottom of the screen to save 10% on your next purchase. Definitely get some high quality stuff. It's important. Investing in yourself is absolutely key. So guys, go check out Wetworks. Special thanks to them for sponsoring this episode. So the DOT, or the electro holographic sight, wasn't honestly possible to get high round count if it wasn't for TrueShot. TrueShot was absolutely huge in making that happen, and assisting with making sure that we got a good amount of testing ammo combined with what we provided to be able to get a lot of rounds on this optic. Now, for those who don't know, it's not a simple red dot. For those who are running a red dot or a holographic optic, there is actually a difference. Some people will look at something that's shaped like a holographic optic, not realizing that it's actually just a standard red dot. A red dot is just a laser that's throwing a laser dot on the actual glass, right? So it's projecting that image onto the glass. For a holographic optic, just think about it this way. They have mirrors and stuff like that, so it's actually a hologram inside of the optic. So that's why you don't see very many holographic sights out there. It's very difficult to make. They're kind of complicated, but it almost completely eliminates your parallax. And we actually do a parallax test here at Bone Valley Industries, which is here in Mulberry, Florida. And we actually did a holographic or a parallax test with the DOT specifically. This is a holographic optic, so I should have relatively lower parallax compared to a normal dot. So typical dots, red dots, you have to keep the dot relatively center in the tube. With holograms, you should be able to have it not always have to be center of the tube. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my reticle on the far left side of the optic, and I'm just changing where the reticle's at inside the glass and seeing if I can still get hits. So here we go. We're at almost 80 yards. All right. So I'm gonna go to the top edge of the glass. Now the far right. Now far bottom. Yeah, no matter where that dot's at inside the glass, you can get hits, at least at 80. So it might be different when we start stretching it out, but I mean, yeah. But let's jump right into the specs. I'm kind of just ranting right now. All right, guys, so the most important thing is cost. As far as MSRP, $599. on this bad boy, according to their website. It is a holographic optic. It does have a 1 MOA dot in the center with a 65 MOA ring. Looks very reminiscent of like other types of holographic optic sights that are out there and reticles. So it's got the simple dot in the center with the ring and the crosshairs there. It is 3.03 inches tall. And also, it does claim to have 1,000 hours of battery life with it on medium. So obviously we didn't have 1,000 hours worth of time to test that, but take that as you will. As far as the battery, there is a single CR123 that goes inside of this. It does have a quick detach feature similar to like an American Defense mount, so you do get that with it. It also has a shake awake feature and an auto off after a certain amount of time it's just sitting. So understand that is something that it does have. It does work in half MOA adjustments. It is IP68 rated, so it's dust and water resistant. When I looked up IP68, because I was like, what does that mean? I've seen that on multiple other things. IP68 means that there's a certain water rating and dust rating that it has. So I think it's 30 minutes submerged at 1.5 feet of water per the IP68 rating across the board for other different types of products. So I don't know how long this can be submerged. I do know it's water resistant. So if you're looking to do dive operations or whatever, or you fall off your boat or something like that, just understand that has not been tested. So maybe it might be good to go. Not sure. We didn't verify that. All right. So the specs are out of the way. Talking about the optic itself. First off, DOT did send us this optic for testing and review, and they wanted a completely unbiased, completely objective, review on this. First off, we'll go with the pros. Some of the things that I really love about this is the fact that there's actually another company that's trying to innovate with new products. Like I said, holographic optics are really hard to do. Like, they're very difficult. That's why you only see EOTech, Vortex, I think maybe SIG might be coming out with one, and DOT are the only real players in the market for a holographic sight. I love holographic optics. They're really good for night vision. It almost eliminates your parallax. Almost. Obviously, there's a small percentage of some parallax in there, but it's very negligible. And so I really applaud them for really trying to push the boundaries on what's capable by using a holographic optic system. Now, as far as I can tell, I'm pretty sure this thing is manufactured in China. However, the design and stuff like that does come from guys here in the States. As far as the other feature that I really liked about it is the fact that it is a taller mount. So we're starting to see a lot more taller mounts, so guys are running risers. This one already has one built in, which honestly I like. I run risers on everything. I run a riser with my EOTech. I run tall risers from Overbore Systems. I just like it. It also works good with my flip to center from Unity, running the EOTech magnifier on there. But I do think that this is actually a very promising optic, especially in the market of holograms. It is really well thought out. Now, as far as some of the things that I was looking for, big thing I was looking for was the night vision features. You know, there are a lot of optics out there that I think don't do very well for night vision that are just standard red dots. So the fact that this actually has a night vision mode is really cool. You just hit that center button and it'll obviously automatically dim to night vision mode. EOTech is what I primarily use for night vision shooting because of the amount of adjustment that you have in night vision mode. I think it has 10 different settings that you can adjust it. So you can adjust it really dark, really dim, crisp reticle, or you can increase the rate of it. Now, under night vision, one of the things that I did notice, and we did quite a bit of shooting with it, it ran through several night vision classes that were taught here at Bone Valley Industries, is that it gets away with it in terms of the lowest setting, but it's almost just like one setting too bright at the bottom of the lowest setting in night vision mode. Like, there was almost no illume out here when we were shooting for all the classes and also doing our night shoots. So it was like no moon at all, which means I really want to kind of dim that reticle down. If I'm aiming passively through the optic, if the reticle's too bright, it's hard for me to see through that glass at my target because the reticle is kind of bright. Now, it wasn't like starbursting it out at all. It was definitely a crisp and clear reticle, but it was like just a little bit, like right there on the line of like a little bit too bright on the bottom setting for night vision mode. So if you're running it in good illum, or you're running it with, you know, IR flood, or you have ambient light from your environment, it is absolutely going to be perfectly fine in night vision mode. But for the rare circumstance that we have absolutely no illum, just keep that in mind. It is just a little tad too bright in the night vision mode for that type of condition. The fact that it sits really tall was really nice. The other thing to keep in mind with holographic optics is a refresh rate. So whenever you are using an EOTech or a Vortex Huey, I actually noticed this with the Vortex Huey the other night. But if I look at my target and I swing my muzzle left and right, it will almost look like the reticle is blinking, like it's like buzzing almost. So it's like kind of a blur, like you get that motion blur with it. And that is you seeing the refresh rate of the actual reticle. The Vortex Huey actually has this, a pretty bad refresh rate. Like you can see it have that motion blur quite a bit, at least from my perspective. The DOT also did have quite a bit of a blur whenever you are swinging that rifle left and right. Is that a detriment to making hits? Absolutely not. Is it something that's kind of just gonna bug you? Yeah, probably. Like it was kind of a frustrating thing seeing that, but it's definitely something you can get past. Understand it's not just DOT, it's other holographic optics that do that. The only one that I've seen that has not done that per se is EOTech. Like they figured out the perfect refresh rate somehow where you don't really get that motion blur. It's some, but it's very negligible. So just keep that in mind if you're running that. If you're staring at the reticle, you won't see the motion blur because the reticle will stay nice and crisp. But when you're focused on the target and you're moving that rifle around and you're staying in the glass, that is something that you will see. To be honest, it was kind of like a little pet peeve of mine, but not really an actual major concern at all. Oh, as far as the reticle itself, there was, you know, it does call for a 1 MOA dot. The dot inside the reticle does have a little bit of, it's a little bit elongated. So it's not a perfect little circle dot. It's a little bit almost like a dot got squished a little bit. So it's not perfectly crisp in there. Just something to consider. Maybe it was just this one, but it's something that I did notice, so it wasn't a perfectly crisp dot. Was honestly able to make hits all the way up to 500 though with the magnifier. That wasn't an issue. So does it affect accuracy? Absolutely not. I don't think it does. It's just something that I noticed. Now, with the adjustments and zeroing the optic, it was very, very simple to zero. And had no issues there, no wobble on the actual mount itself or the optic itself. One thing that I did have to do is whenever you do mount it with the QD, you have to adjust this set screw back here. And actually the fact the set screw I can manipulate with my fingers is really nice. So it made that mounting solution easier to adjust and make sure it's locked into place whenever I am running it on the rifle. Now, one thing I did notice, and this is once again just a pet peeve, right? Like it's not an actual like functionality thing, is usually I like to run my magnifiers as close as humanly possible to the optic. So I will usually have where my magnifier is like this, like it's really close, and I can't do that because the lever is kind of in the way. So if I was to suggest anything, I would say having the lever switch the opposite direction where it faces away from the optic and faces more towards the muzzle. So that way you can kind of really button up that gap with the magnifier and the red dot. So that's just a pet peeve of mine. It's not anything at all really detrimental, but like you can see here, I have to actually move it back a couple of Picatinny rail spaces to be able to get that to clear if you are going to run a QD from like Unity Tactical or an American Defense one. So just food for thought. As far as, now one of the good things about this is the small footprint. And I've said this a lot about EOTech and the Vortex Huey is they're big, right? The EOTech's a little bit smaller, but man, they really were able to squish the size down quite a bit to be able to make it very compact. What makes it very ideal for these shorter systems where rail space is absolutely crucial and you want to have as much rail space as possible. So having a really big optic, it kind of sucks. The fact that they were able to squish this down in size is really neat. And that's the one thing that caught my eye. I was like, wow, that is a super small holographic sight. And so I applaud them on that, really trying to revolutionize holographic optics by shrinking them down, making them a little bit more compact, a little bit more economical in terms of space. So I think that's fantastic. Now, one of the things that we did notice, and actually I saw it on a Brass Facts video, And so I went to go test it, and I was like, well, I'll be darned, it's true. When you turn this thing on, if it's just bright enough, you can actually see the reticle from the other side. So if you're looking at the front of the optic, you can actually see your reticle in the front and also in the back. So I don't know if that's a tint thing. Maybe it's like a tint of the glass, because I feel like, or an adjustment of the mirrors. I'm not sure, I have no idea. It was just something that we noticed. And then also, when you turned it up in night vision mode, or when you're under nods, you can actually see the reticle under nods through the front of the glass. So which is something that we noticed. Understand, that is something where you have the dot turned all the way up. Is anybody gonna run the dot that high? Probably not. But I wonder if it's just maybe a tint issue where you could kind of maybe adjust that tint so that way the glass isn't, or the reticle doesn't appear on the front of the optic where it can be seen by the enemy. As far as EOTech, we checked to see if that was something that did happen with the EOTech. We checked to see if it would happen with the Vortex UE, and it does not. So don't know what kind of witchcraft that is, but like, it was just an attribute that we noticed. All right, so what do you think about that dot with the magnifier?
Not a big fan.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I'm not a big fan of the EOTech dot and like when the magnifier comes up, I'm not a fan of that either. Like aim point has really been like the only thing that I've been happy with the dot quality once you add a magnifier to it.
Right.
But if you're shooting 300 and in, I think it's usable. It's just not going to be precise.
It also looks like it has two dots. It looks like a figure 8.
Yeah.
Like it's split apart, like you're splitting an atom apart is what it looks like.
I think just holographics in general tend to just not do very well behind a magnifier. Like you said, out to 3, you could definitely get hits. You can be accurate, but you're not going to be precise.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I did forget to mention. There were a couple of times whenever I was hitting the adjustment settings, or I'd raise the rifle up to shoot, I noticed that the reticle had turned off. And so I would actually go and have to turn it back on. So, I'd be doing a string of fire, it'd be, 2 minutes, and all of a sudden the reticle would turn off. What I think it could be is either the optic is turning off, or I'm bumping the night vision button. I don't know how that is happening because I'm left-handed, so whenever I have it, the buttons are away from me, so they can't get bumped. I am still trying to figure out how that's going on, whether it's me hitting the night vision button somehow, or it's just turning off, but it actually happened a couple times in class where I'd go to do a drill or a demo, and I'd raise the rifle up, and I'm like, it's off. So just something that was interesting about the optic itself. So in general, with this optic as a whole, I think it's really cool that this company which is a newer company, is trying to really innovate and shrink down and kind of shake up the holographic optics game. We have just very few amount of companies out there that are making them. And so to see one come to market that's trying to really revolutionize the optic game for the holographic sides is refreshing to see. It's like, in my opinion, it's like almost there to being like one of the best holographic optics out there because of the size and the space savings on it, but it's just so close. There's just a few things that I think could be polished up, and if Gen 2 comes out, or they do produce a Gen 2, kind of identifying those things and making the optic improved with those features, I think it'll be a game changer, absolutely, in the market, and really shake it up. But I think if you're going to run this and you're not running night vision, or you really don't care about some of the things that I mentioned, it's a very small optic, and great for like sub guns or things that require more ergonomic sizes because of lack of rail space. So if you are looking at DOT, guys, go check them out. If you're looking for a hologram, this is definitely one to consider for sure, especially if you're going to be running shorter stuff. And yeah, hopefully you guys got something out of that. Now we're gonna go ahead and go to the rifle drills portion where I talk about punching in and out of barricades. This is not gonna be talking about mounting on the barricade, but how to go in and out of confined spaces. So right now we have the Quadzilla set up, which is essentially 2 barrels with furring strips in between. This is gonna create 4 quadrants. And you guys have seen me do this on the channel multiple times and on different videos. I didn't invent the Quadzilla. It was actually invented by an amazing instructor. He's on my bucket list to go take a class from. But Frank Proctor, grandmaster shooter, really, really fast. But he developed the Quadzilla, and so it's such an awesome drill. I like to use it for doing demos and stuff on my own training. Now, if I'm going to transverse to a different space, and I don't want to smack the barrel and you know, whack my gun on things. I want to do what's called punching in and out of that quadrant. What I don't want to do is I don't want to sweep around things. So if I sweep around a barricade, what ends up happening, I end up flagging people that are around me if I sweep. So if I do one of these and I'm sweeping around the barricade or sweeping around this structure here, then I have a higher chance of flagging somebody. So what I want to do is I want to keep my muzzle straight and down range, and when I go in and out of a quadrant, it's not going to flag. It's almost like a train that's on a track that's going to pull straight back and punch back in. All right, so for example, so once I get on target, all right, once I go to another quadrant, safety is going to come on immediately. Finger comes off the trigger. This is one of the things that we see all the time is guys like, oh, I'm just moving a really short space, so I'm going to keep my safety off, my finger on the trigger, I'm just not pulling it. No, as soon as you're done disconnecting from the sight, safety immediately comes on. I'm going to allow this gun to be on a track, and I'm going to have it come straight back, just like this, right? So it's coming straight back, and that allows me to squat down into this other quadrant, and I can punch back in. Let's just say, for example, I'm in a confined space. I've got something directly behind me. If I'm going to use it on a track, I still want to make sure that I have good control of the muzzle, so I will actually come up with my buttstock and do that to be able to work inside of a confined space. If I'm going to be going up or down, I want to make sure that my muzzle goes there first. So if I'm going to this upper quadrant, I want the muzzle to go there first, and then I can come behind the gun to be able to work that target. What usually we'll see is guys will go buttstock down first, and so if I'm trying to go to this bottom quadrant, now I have to go even lower to get this muzzle to go below that barricade, and then I can punch out. So I want to have my muzzle follow where that's going, up or down. Muzzle's going to go down first, right? That's going to make things a lot easier when you're transitioning a lot of confined spaces or working barricades, so punching in and out and not sweeping around that obstacle. So we're going to do it one more time. I'm going to punch back up, go back down, muzzle go down first. All right, so what we'll do is we'll just run this. There you go. Nice. But as you guys can see, whenever you are running a barricade, the biggest thing that you got to keep in mind is making sure that you are punching in and out of that. You're not hitting the structure, you're not bumping into things, and most of all, that you're not sweeping around that structure. It's going to make you a lot more capable because of your safety. Being subconsciously safe is what we're trying to achieve. So hopefully you guys were able to get some tricks and tips out of that. Make sure you guys punch in and out, don't sweep, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Eric for an encouraging word. Hey guys, so hopefully you were able to get something out of that episode. And you know, anytime that we are able to test out a product to really see how it is and give you guys more information about whatever product it is that you're researching about, it's always a pleasure and a blast, and we take it super seriously. We really do. I take it extremely seriously about the actual testing and feedback on things, so that way you guys have a completely unbiased opinion about an experience. And so it truly is an honor to be able to be a part of this community, and I really hope you guys were able to get something out of that, and also the tips and the tricks, because I'm always learning myself. But you know, in one of the other videos I was talking about how there are hard times that are going to be coming. There's going to be trials that are going to be coming, and it made me think about James chapter 1. And I kind of do want to read this passage for you because I think it's so pertinent to what we're about to go through. And it says here in James chapter 1 verse 2, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith, with no doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Let the lowly brother boast in his exaltation, and the rich in his humiliation, because like a flower of the grave he will pass away. For the sun rises with its scorching heat and withers the grass. Its flower falls, and its beauty perishes. So also will the rich man fade away in the midst of his pursuits. But blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. And so guys, we are about to go into hard times. We currently are in a blessed time where we have some peace and some time to prepare. And that's not for everybody around the world. Right now in Sudan and Nigeria, like I've talked about before, they're going through those trials and martyrdom right now. That persecution that is so terrible, where it's just an onslaught of murder and persecution, where these people are just being slaughtered for their belief in the Lord. And so right now here in the West, we have this amazing time of grace where we can kind of prepare. But there are still trials that still come our way. And it's interesting is that James is talking about, hey, whenever you have trials, trust in the Lord. And honestly, look at those trials as an opportunity to see how God is going to work in your life. There's a mindset shift where you, instead of worrying about the trials and be like, I don't want any more, it's like, man, I have so much faith in the Lord that no matter what happens, I know he's going to come through for me. And I'm actually excited to see how God's going to work in the midst of this trial. A complete change of your mindset where we are leaning on Christ and running to him during those hard times. And those hard times when they come, are they hard? Absolutely. But as you continue to go through those trials and you lean on the Lord and he continues to work in your life and deliver you from them one by one by one, the harder the trials become, the easier it is for you because of how reactive you are to going to God whenever those things happen. And it's just like, Lord, I'm going to give what's going on in my life. It's a terrible thing, or this tragedy, or this hardship. I'm going to give it to you, and you are going to deliver me from it. Or it will be a trial that will give me the opportunity to earn the crown of life at the end of a race that is well run. And so live by faith in the Lord. Live not afraid of the trials, but looking forward to the trials that come your way, because you know that God is going to pull through or give you the opportunity to really stand up for him and be rewarded for that. And so if you're going through a hard time, or you are curious about who Jesus is, you can email me at team@barrelhatchet.com, or you can send a comment on this video. There's tons of Christians in this community that would love to pray for you. If you're a Christian, read through those comments, see who needs help. Listen, look at those prayer requests. If you have a prayer request and you want it broadcast to the group, let me know. I'll post it on the channel, and so that way where two or more come together, they will be heard. We'll push that prayer request out to the community. But guys, look out for each other. Stand fast whenever those trials come your way. Look to the Lord to be your deliverance, and he will just continue to blow you away with how he's going to deliver you from the world's trials. Let's stand together as a community. Let's train to be the eternal asset. My name is Eric, and I'll see you on the next one.